New year, new class. So technically we turn the calendar to 2024, but in the recruiting world, that means we look to the 2025 class. So here are the top guys, a few that you've heard us talk quite a bit about, like the top quarterback and Bryce Underwood and the top tackle and David Sanders Jr. So we have a whole year practically to introduce you to these guys. But let's give you a little bit of a taste on day one of the new year and welcome in Smoke Dixon here to break down some of the top guys and some guys that maybe aren't the highest ranked, but you need to know the name. Starting at the top, though, Bryce Underwood. He's the #1 quarterback, the #1 player, but what is it that makes him so special?
Well, Happy New Year, first and foremost.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
You can't start this 2025 class without my #1 guy. This is a game-changing quarterback. Like, what makes him special is he's an athletic quarterback that can play in the pocket and has great pocket presence for a young guy that's an anticipatory thrower of the football, but athletic enough when the play breaks down to be a game changer and create monster plays and explosive plays for touchdowns, just not first downs.
Touchdowns, first downs, they all work. He's a big body guy too, right? How much do you see that kind of in his game?
Well, you see how strong he is in the pocket when you see defenders just grab on him and he just sits there and just shakes them off. Or even when he runs, he's a guy that can run through contact. But when he throws the ball, you can see a guy throwing from power from his toes to his fingertips and drive balls on 20-yard digs and 70-yard bombs.
Speaking of big bodies, David Sanders Jr., at one point, he was considered the #1 player. We continue to churn out those rankings as we get more information from these players, so that could change. He could be the #1 player again. A very important position at offensive tackle, but what makes him such a can't-miss prospect?
He's an athletic phenom in terms of ability with feet, athleticism, twitch, bend from a contact position. That means from the hip through his daggone hands. He's knocking guys back. And when you see a young man that has the ability to make game looks easy for him, because when he's pass blocking, he makes those defenders look like they're not even moving, and he's just having his way with them. But his ability to displace other people across from him, defensive linemen that are 200 and 300 pounds, and make it look that easy, this guy, I don't know if it's it can't miss prospect, but he's one of the better prospects in this. And he and Bryce will probably go back and forth on who's 1 or 2 along coming year. But this guy right here, when you look at him, he's a guy that you want protecting Bryce. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, for whatever school ends up with both of those guys, that would be absolutely fantastic. When it comes to the offensive tackle position in particular, though, we talk about this in the transfer portal all the time, in that it's a can't-miss position. But when it comes to developing players, you want to get your offensive tackles out of high school. What kind of guy can he potentially develop into wherever he ends up going?
He can develop into the first offensive lineman coming off the board whenever he gets his 3 years in college, because he's not even close to being development growth period yet in terms of size, but his length, his athleticism, his feet, like I said, his hips, that he generates power from only being a 260 to 70 pound guy. You put 30 to 40 more pounds onto that body and start creating enough weightlifting strength and power movements, you're going to see a dominant type player with mindset and being around the right group of people. And again, the fit for this guy going to the right place is going to mean a ton, because he's a power player that can play in any offense, but you want to get into an offense that gives you NFL type of plays, but give you an RPO world of playing fast and being a guy that's in shape that can play in the passing game and the run game as well too.
Certainly has all the options in the world wherever he decides to go.
All the tools to be great.
All the tools to be great. Yeah, he's not a finished product quite yet, but where he goes will be dependent on
where
he can go.
Which is the beauty of a young man like that. You get in just a clay that you can sit there and just carve into whatever you want that to be.
Love it. All right, let's talk about some defensive prospects. 4-star edge Marco Jones. He's the #12 edge prospect in this class, but why is he a name that fans need to know in this class?
Well, he's a guy that is athletic enough to play off of the ball and in coverage, because he also plays tight end, and he's a baseball player as well too. But he also has that edge ability, first step get off, ability to bend, close, and finish with relentless attitude towards the quarterback. But when you see these guys that are edgy, twisty, twitched up guys that can play in space, you can now drop them in coverage. Now you can do a lot of things with these guys and be as exotic as you want to in the front, because they can play off the ball and they can also play defensive end and outside linebacker. So he's a 3-4 or 4-3 seams fit type of guy.
And tight end.
And tight end, because he can cover it. And when the ball's in the air, he has good enough hands to catch it.
Yeah, we know those college recruiters love to see the guys with the versatile skill set and can do a lot of different things, because they just look at them and think of them as something that they can turn into a great prospect.
Most defensive coordinators are the most creative people. So when you have a guy or a player that is a talentless type of player or scheme, you can put him in whatever scheme that you want to put him in, and he works for you, the offensive coordinator don't know where he's coming from.
Yeah. All right, I love this next one. The number one player in Kentucky is defensive lineman Austin Alexander. Remember that. The Cats are in it for him, but what kind of difference can he make at the next level, and what makes him so interesting?
Well, first and foremost, pedigree. That's Shaun Alexander's nephew.
Okay.
But his length, size, first step get off in terms of being a pass rusher. And he has the ability to get up to 280 pounds, meaning that he can play defensive end. You can knock him inside and play defensive tackle because he has that power and length and explosiveness, and he has great feet.
Yeah.
And his attitude towards the game is unmatched because he's been around it for so long. But again, a defensive end that can stand up or put his hand in the ground with his athleticism, like I said, young guys like this you want in your building. And he's just wired right because he comes from a good family.
Yeah, hard to forget that name. Top 10 safety Messiah Delhomme is another guy that you wanted to highlight. What makes him so special?
Athletic, ball skills, instincts, and relentlessness when the ball is in the air and also when the guy's running the ball. He wants to knock you down, hurt you, step on you, and if the ball comes out, he can scoop it and score. He plays offense as well too. And when you get into your defensive back bag, you want defensive backs with ball skills, but he has something that you can't coach, that mom and dad gave him, instincts. When the ball's in the air, he just happens to find it.
I love it. Okay, let's end on somebody that I'm putting on the all-name team, Jett White.
Jett, my boy.
Corner out of Miami. What's so special about the skill set that he possesses?
Size, length, smooth, confident. When I first met this guy, he had the Aaron Jones glasses on, the Oakleys, and he sat there like this and just looked at me. But when you're around a corner like that has length, ball skills, feet, and the ability to get the ball when it's in the air, because he's also a receiver, but the confidence to know that when the ball is in the air and my back is to it, I don't have to panic, I can get the ball. He's a kid that moved from California, now he's down in Miami area, but he comes from a good pedigree as well too. But he's a corner with all the skill sets that you're looking for a corner, from the mental aspect of it, physical aspect of it, from length, size, and ball skills. And he has some instincts. He might be able to play safety at some point too. Scheme versatile player. Yeah,
we were showing highlights when you were showing us what he did when he put his Oakleys on. Can you just do that for us one more time? It was Jett White, right there. No, Smoke Dixon. Thank you so much for being here and giving us a good taste of 2025. I'm sure you'll be back on many times throughout the new year. It's day one, but thanks for kicking it off right.
Appreciate you.